In the 70s, it was always stone or wood carving and metal casting. It was a time where people really focused on those things in the curriculum, in the education system. And since I had entered through the education system, I complied with it. So, and it was exploratory. So I did batches of bronze casting and repus, meeting of metal sheets and wood carving and stone carving. But I felt for the kind of tendency I had, and I always wanted to talk as a first person, as an artist. Very much like a writer using words, I wanted to use my hands to make the clay do something that I couldn't speak in through words. Couldn't compose those things ideas that I could transfer through words. So, but I can only do that through my hands and through the malleable material like clay. Also, I saw a symbolism in the fragility of clay. So, I talked about states of fragility of women's psychological living through day-to-day life, not also necessarily appropriating, conditions of other women, with through different aspects of even physicality of living. To address those issues, when I first started making sculptures, I did talk through the human female form as a first person, because it was like, I'm talking about this. So instead of talking about it, I was making it through a female form. So that's how I started very gestural forms or existence of human female shapes. And I chose the material like clay because I found it really, the similitude and symbolism suited the subject matter that I wanted to address through going. And we do come from, in terms of living, we do come from the earth, because as the earth sustains us through the food we eat. It is all connected to clay and earth. I really pushed for it to be the final material in what I wanted to say. So over the years and decades, I have developed a different way of appropriating this material, because I am interested in the cyclical nature of life. Since I was not born and brought up in India, I'm very aware when I was a young toddler, when I came to India on my first visit around 5 or 6 years old, when they said that, no, this is actually where you come from. I'm aware of the otherness that I experienced before I came to India. So that is the identity issue, which is why has led me to appropriate earth, the actual agricultural earths of the country, of the 29 states. And the works you see here are composites of those earths from the various states of India. So I'm talking about a country association, an association of specific areas like the Tropic of Cancer. So I made a work walking on the Tropic of Cancer because I wanted to address landscape as a cultural identity and plant areas of landscape on the Tropic of Cancer, which I only reached to 3 states, and I couldn't take it further because it was just running out of money, and I was doing it as an artist. After that, I appropriated those clays to make the work, and these are composite earth from the states of India, and then to juxtaposition them in terms of bouncing off a thought of an identity with a location. So the location markers are on the bases and the base installations, which are the actual living organic, botanical and agricultural matter, geographical matter of the country, with the fused and fired areas. Also the allegory of Indian sculpture, because lots of things like you have to keep this water in your home instructed my mother. It's actually a little vial of Ganges water that I traveled with when I got a scholarship to go to London. And when I left, I looked at my mother, and my grandmother insisted I should take it. So I was a bit thinking, a certain amount of weight, and they're asking me to take this when I'm not I'm not doing rituals. But the thing thrown at me by my mother was that my grandmother said, beta, it's not that. It's a symbolism of your country. And I do know that in my homes, when somebody dies and passes away, they puncture these little vials and pour the water in the mouths as a part of a ritual before they cremate it. So I said, well, it's not a very lucky thing to give me. So she said, no, it's a lucky thing because it's not punctured, and it's actually the ashes of our ancestors are interred in the Ganges. When you put the water in your mouth, you're actually joining your ancestors. So it's that symbolism that gripped me, and that material I used in the allegory of this work.